Yep. Film Bump. Welcome everyone to the Film Bump. That's Anderson. I'm Bryan Bishopbury, host for today. Ooh, listener assigned topic: top 5 Germans. Top 5 Germans. I can't promise anything for my co-host, but I will not be bringing you any German accents. There will be no attempts, no hacky attempts at an accent.
Oh no!
Just character goodness. Mitch Tobias is our assigner.
And you got his email, right?
Whatever.
Yes.
I'm wondering if we read his email up top so that people understand why he would like us to.
I was just wondering.
I would like to hear that.
Yeah, welcome to the program, everybody. Hey, excited. Hey, it shows like 12 hours late to this week, and not for anyone other than the Patreon.
This one's on time.
Yeah, no one.
We should have said this for the last
enjoy.
But yeah, the last
this
one.
One's early.
That was by design. It's the same. It rarely happens. I mean, it's still out the day that we usually release. It's just I was gallivanting. I could not get around the gallivanting that had to happen. So there was gallivanting that happened yesterday. I didn't get home until like 9:30.
You were out partying.
With the family, yes.
That's right.
I was. You'll hear all about it if you listen to the After Disaster. It was quite a remarkable sojourn that I had to take. 24 hours on the road. To get the family
on
one place.
On the heels of Panama.
Yes, I know. It was not planned that way, but that's the way it landed. Here we are. I'm back on terra firma, back at home, ready to get everything done that needs to be done, playing a little bit of catch-up. But here we go. So next week, same thing's going to happen because where we usually record these is on Tuesdays. And guess what? It's our nation's birthday next Tuesday. So we're going to be hopefully not blowing our fingers off. More on fingers off later. And
I will be hammered.
You will be hammered.
More on fingers off
film
later.
vaulting.
Yes.
Yeah. And Brian, did you catch that?
I did.
Do you know what I'm talking about? With the fingers off later.
Didn't make my list.
Did not make your list.
Very enjoy. I talk about it too much.
Okay. All right.
I enjoy that though.
All right. Mitch, one of our longest contributors, Mitch Tobias, that is. Not Mitch Burns, but Mitch Burns. We're thinking about you over here. The whole Film Vault community is thinking about you. Get back on your feet, buddy. Anything you need from us, you let us know. But Mitch Tobias is the one who brought us our top 5. And here's the reason why he wanted us to do top 5 German characters.
Let's hear it.
Yes, my wife and I, says Mitch, have been living in Germany off and on since 2009. We are currently residing in Wiesbaden, Germany, which is about 20 minutes from Frankfurt. While the majority of our working and interpersonal relationships are with Americans in the area, we have become friendly with a few Germans over the years. Germans by nature are very complicated characters who evolved into products of the post-war environment.
What does that mean?
Well, in general, they are a convivial bunch who pride themselves on...
Convivial? I didn't see that coming.
He's a teacher.
Oh, did he establish that?
He's a learned man.
Okay. He's erudite.
Pride themselves on participating in a very structured society. Example, with the exception of restaurants, nearly everything in Germany is closed on Sundays. Lawns cannot be mowed on Sundays, nor can excessive noise be made from a residence. All in all, we love living here, and it has provided us opportunities public educators from Florida would never have otherwise. Oh, here, Florida's pretty good. Shout out to the Germans.
Germany or Florida, right?
Out there in the TFV universe.
Hey. Well done, Mitch. Thank you. That's an inspired choice.
Also,
so we're going to get his list as well, yes?
Yes.
I am, as you know, Brian and Avery, I'm a world traveler, as the wife demands.
You're a rambling man?
I'm a rambling man. Except I ramble. I bring the sand to the beach everywhere I go with my lovely wife and a small child. But if you'll recall... What's that? Bring sand to the beach?
Yeah.
A lot of time a Rolling Stone is like, they don't stay in one town too long because the ladies catch up with them, so they got to go to the next store. You know what I mean? I'm not that guy. It's not like a lady in every port. I'm a family man, but I still ramble.
He's not bed surfing.
Yes,
gotcha.
That's right. Those days are over. But if you recall, last November/December, I was out in Iceland, and then we were in Copenhagen there for a minute, Denmark. And on our way back, we had to hit Frankfurt Airport. Yeah. I've never really spent any time in Germany other than this one little layover we had in Frankfurt. That's where Jillian left her phone on the plane. Remember that saga?
And the listener found it for us?
Not just any listener. Mitch
Mitch?
Tobias.
All right.
Mitch Tobias. He contacted me. He said, hey,
glorious.
I didn't even ask. I thought the phone was just gone. And Mitch is like, hey, Anderson, you might have forgotten, but I live out here in Germany. I could
have done my bit.
Airport.
Hey, if you're in Stuttgart, if you're in East Berlin, if you're in West Berlin,
Oh, I
if you're
see.
in Frankfurt.
Yeah, this is a bit for like
you're in
two
Hamburg.
people at the table. I don't even know if Avery's
You're in
really picking up.
Nuremberg.
So
I'm trying to put it back down.
Mitch went to the airport, very graciously went for us, very, very kind. for him to do so. And that's when he started talking about German culture and German people with me. And he's like, I think I'll have success, but it's going to be weird. And there were weird things that happened. Like he could see the phone, but the guy was saying like the phone is not here because technically it's not like written down on the ledger or on the papers, that kind of thing. Long story short, because of Mitch going down there, he got them to send the phone back to us, whereas they weren't going to do that unless they might have eventually, but
not that day.
It had been like 3 weeks, and they were just telling her that they didn't have the phone, and then they kept asking for her to send pictures of the phone. And she did that.
Who has a photo of their phone?
And how did you decipher it from?
We found a picture that I took of her on the phone that identified it. Yeah,
wow,
with a
that's
little
not
sticker.
bad.
But yeah, and then he's like, "Can I just see the phones that you have?" And they actually showed him from 10 feet away. They're like, "Here are the phones," and he's like, "Oh, I see it. It's right. It's that one right there." And they said, "We will take the next step now, sir." Something along those lines. I'm screwing it up.
Very process oriented.
Yeah, fastidious.
Yeah.
So, do you have any
convivial?
Yes.
I didn't see that coming.
Do you have any clips on your list?
I should have, but now there was.
I got one clip.
Maybe I can get one.
I'm not even sure how much we should play. We'll see how it's going on the show. It's my number 3, and we'll play that later. And you have it, right? You have
yes.
it. Okay, so my number 3 should be all right. Cool.
Well, I may do an impression of a character at some point.
I would have enjoyed your number 1.
My number 1.
Little clip of your number 1.
So many though. So many clips I'd even pick. I know. All right.
I may do an impression.
We're all looking forward to that impression.
You're in for a treat.
Are we all in for the treat, Brad? Top 5.
He has thoughts on. Never mind.
Top 5 German characters.
I have bad news.
Uh-oh.
Pre-apologies to any of our German listeners. I'm sure you're very convivial. I fucking love that word. Well done, Mitch. All of mine are villains. All of mine are villains. And not like the one-dimensional, Adolf Hitlers of the world. Like these are like interesting characters who have.
He was
believe it.
Safe.
It's a trip. I'm hoping that he falls.
What are you?
Nothing. No, we're good. I have a nice mix. Not all mine are villains. I want to do that to any one group of people. It's not right. No blanket statements over here.
No, but this reflects how I think Germans are largely portrayed by Hollywood, and these are. Dynamic villains, memorable.
Yes, well, they should be if they're on your
That's
list.
good.
I would
That's a
hope.
really good point.
All 5 of mine, with the exception of 1, Brian. So I should say 4 of my 5 are actual German people speaking the German.
It's interesting you mentioned that. 4 of my 5 are okay.
I thought you were saying no hacky accents over here.
What do you mean?
You said I'm not going to have any people playing, Germans.
Oh no. There aren't. Well, no, sorry, no hacky accents by me. Oh, there's hacky accents.
You said you were going to do an accent later. What are you talking about?
I went back
3 sides of your mouth are being talked out
I
of.
went back on my word. Hey, any obvious choices on your list?
I tried not to, and honestly, I didn't need them on there because I have such great, such good ones.
Good.
I really like my list. I really like it.
I had 6 I was so in love with that I had to make a tie at number 5 because my number 1 through 4 are all German characters. Number 5A and 5B, some question about their where they originate from.
What?
We'll get there.
No questions.
We'll get there.
There's many German characters. We
We'll
just stick
get
in the
there.
German.
We'll get there.
It's like if we're doing top 5 actresses. I'm not sure if she's actually a woman. I have to talk to Matt Walsh about that.
What is a German?
All right, so what I was trying to say is 4 of my 5 are actual German human beings,
Yes.
German citizens, and they're actually speaking either in German or with the accent, and it's an actual accent. They're not trying it like Tom Cruise pupil. However,
No, Valkyrie.
Valkyrie. My number, yeah, you're right, absolutely
pupil
right.
is
correct.
Ian
Yes.
McKellen.
Both of them are heinous. All right. Now my number 1, actually Valkyrie's not terrible. My number 1,
Number 5 for me, Ian McKellen, a pupil.
my number 1
And X-Men.
is not. He's not a German man. And he's doing an absurd, ridiculous, over-the-top accent, but he's my number 1.
I'm excited.
We're going to go with that. All right, we're going to stick with that. All right, here we go. Let's go. Let's do it.
Number 5 for me, a tie.
Germans.
Number 5, Tom Cruise and Valkyrie, and Ian McKellen and a pupil. They're both convincing.
Are you serious
No,
right
no.
now? Oh, my God. You're convincing me.
I was typing it out.
Poor
No.
Avery's over here typing it.
Sorry.
You're
Number 5.
Bryan. We would have bought it. You're Bryan.
5T for me, my first number 5, is a German man playing what in the novel was an Austrian-born supervillain. However, it is not acknowledged where this character is from in the film, and he's played by a German man, so thus he is the number 5 German character. Ulrich Goldfinger, played by Gert Froba. Froba, of course, Ulrich Goldfinger, and Goldfinger, the titular Goldfinger in 1964, directed by Guy Hamilton. In the book, he is Latvian. I said Austrian. Apologize for that. Froba himself was a member of the Nazi Party.
Oh, is he Austrian? Is he Latvian?
No, he's German.
Is he German?
Froba is German.
The character's German or the actor's
They
German?
never say where the character's from in the movie.
Well, then he shouldn't be on your fucking list, bruh.
He's a German man. He's played by a German human being.
Okay, so the character, the actor that they got for the role is German.
That's right.
They don't say where the character's from in the movie, but in the book they say that he's Austrian.
Latvian.
Where's the Austrian?
I messed up. I said Austria.
Do Latvians and Germans get confused very often? Or do they just completely switch that
That's a
character
really good
out?
question. I don't know enough about Latvia. He left the Nazi Party prior to World War II. AFI named Goldfinger the 49th greatest villain in movie history. And I don't know how well you know Goldfinger, Anderson, the movie.
Mm-hmm.
How well do you know?
Not well at all.
Okay,
I saw it when I was like 7, maybe. And
we should probably do a watch along for this. But Avery, you must remember this movie semi well.
Yes. Problematic sex scene.
There's a lot that doesn't hold up. However, the villain's super evil plan, actually kind of a good plan. He wants to irradiate Fort Knox's gold by setting off a dirty bomb and thus making it inert and unusable for decades, in which case his gold will become far more valuable. Needlessly elaborate, perhaps,
Yes.
but also
sound.
kind of genius.
Yeah.
That actually would work.
It's worth a shot.
It's creating what he's like. I mean, the same end game, right?
Tied for number 5 for me.
If I understand this correctly.
An obvious choice, so I won't spend too much time on it. But of course, the Jew hunter, aka Colonel Hans Landa, played by Christoph Waltz in *Inglourious Bastards*. He himself, apparently, the character biography. I couldn't find any evidence of this, but I read a few descriptions that he is Austrian, working for the SS as a German citizen. So there is some fuzziness there. That said, he's in Germany. He's speaking German. He is an SS officer, and of course. Did you know? Fun fact about this Jew hunter. He was apparently named after a customer Quentin Tarantino befriended at Video Archives. There was a Hans Landa who would come in and rent movies.
That's so fun.
Is that interesting?
Do you think he appreciated being? I mean, it's a cool character, but I mean, he's kind of a vile, despicable villain.
That's also true. However, both Gert Froba.
Hans Landa, like the Nazi Jew hunter.
Hey, Hans. Yeah, I haven't talked to you since the video store days. Do you see what I did there? You like that? Yeah, you're a Nazi now forever.
But I mean, he's ultimately a hero, because he helped.
It was that or pedophile. You got to choose.
Interestingly enough, my entire list, like Ulrich Goldfinger and Hans Landa, the way the German villains are portrayed in film is kind of like genteel, almost effeminate, or like achieving some status. You know what I mean? They have some kind of sophisticated, successful.
They wouldn't like this, but almost British in some ways.
Yeah, it's like a status in life.
Yes.
You're either rich or wealthy or powerful, or in Hans Landa's case, sort of educated and genteel. Wait for the cream. He's like the right way to eat this eclair
Yes.
or whatever it is. So playing against their menacing evil nature. You'll see that a lot in my list.
Okay. So you have a type of German character that you
It's not my type. It's just the type.
All right. Well, I mean, my number 5, I wouldn't say is that type.
Okay, that's good.
He's a man's man. He's actually playing an actual German. He might be the only named character who is doing an actual character, an actual human, an actual real person, and that's Nicky Lauda, played by Daniel Brule.
Yeah, Nicky Lauda.
Rush.
That's right.
Rush. I really enjoyed Rush. I don't know if you saw Rush. I can't remember your take on
Ron Howard.
Rush.
Underwhelming, but overall above average.
It did what it was supposed to do. For that kind of movie, it did what it was supposed to do. It stayed in its lane. It's like a perfect type of Ron Howard movie who makes very soft-edged, rounded, like crowd-pleasing,
accessible, digestible
movies. And some of the sound was great. It was like the sound was on akin to like a Days of Thunder sound, which was fucking fantastic. And I really, really enjoyed both of the characters quite a bit. But I think I like Nicky Lauda's character a little bit more. And he was supposed to not be the villain, but he was the
adversary.
Adversary, right? And what grit and balls that man had. And that
Didn't
gave me
he,
an
like,
appreciation. So
catch on
a
fire in the movie?
Yes, he did. Story of two of the biggest rivals in Formula One, which I am not familiar with at all. It's just the one that doesn't go in circles, as far as I can tell. Like that's what that is in Formula One. It's like, oh, is it the one that they drive in circle and turn left all day, or is it the one where they go windy?
Yeah, back and forth.
With different looking cars and their little heads pop out, and you get worried that if they flip, like the heads will be ground down.
That's true.
Oh God, did I unplug anything? Okay, go.
Oh, Jesus.
So, Jesus, I'm sorry, I was trying to sit
Fidgeting.
We're about to lose it.
I'm fidgety. I'm very, very
Avery,
fidgety.
save this quickly.
Can't be done.
So that's my number 5.
Right.
And Daniel Brule, like you will see him. I guess he'd be
What
considered
about
like
the
a
characters you
German
like?
character actor, right? Because it seems like every time. About 1 out of every 3 times there's a German in your movie, you're going to see Daniel Brule there. He's had a lengthy career, and he's in all sorts of movies, both American and German. But I liked how sour grapes he was, but you still like appreciate and you respected him as a racer. And there was a breadth of Daniel Brule characters I could have pulled from. I almost went with Joy Noel, which I think I leaned on a little bit too harshly. Also, I tried to make these all American movies.
He's in Inglorious too.
Yeah, he is.
That's right.
War hero.
Playing a German, yeah.
Uh-huh.
He's played Germans across the board, and I was able to keep all of my German characters in American movies. That was one of my main things. I didn't want to have like a German movie with a German character.
Yeah.
It's like when you go to China, you don't ask for Chinese food. It's just food over there, right? So like I didn't want to do German characters in German movies
It's
because
just food.
right? Yeah.
Give us your finest local fare.
So I didn't. Does that make sense?
Completely.
I didn't want to. I left one off that I really wanted. I really wanted around there, but I couldn't do it because of my list. Yeah, because of my rules, my self-imposed.
Is it from a
rules.
comedy?
No,
That's Madeline Kahn.
you guys are gonna try and guess my
That's right.
my person who's not on my list. My female. No,
Number-
she may be on Mitch Tobias's list.
Oh,
so
let's
we
hear
will
Mitch's
probably-
number 5. By the way.
Let's not do that.
Oh, we're not.
Remember we tried that last week and it did not.
didn't
Well,
work?
because it was stepping all over our list early on. And we're like,
Okay.
nah, I can't have that.
No, you did that with the listener list.
Yeah,
Okay, I wanted
Mitch is a listener.
Okay.
What are you talking
Well,
about?
I know, but when
oh.
he's when you have a decider.
Oh, that's that. I'm so sorry. Can we cut everything that just happened out of my mouth? Brian's absolutely right. Let's hear Mitch's.
I was wondering
Yeah.
why you're so opposed to this. I'm like, I mean, Mitch should be heard with us.
Number 5 for Mitch Tobias.
No, can't do it.
I forgot that wasn't a listener list. Of course, we always do it this way. My brain is soft, and I'm a very foolish person.
Hans Gruber, played by Alec Rickman in Die Hard, pronounced D Hard in German.
The hard. Pronounce the hard.
The world does not need my thoughts on this particular character. An exceptional performance in a genre-defining film.
True. It's a subtype unto itself.
Mr. McLean.
I mean, I'd be shocked if he's not on your list. I can just let everyone know he's not on mine. So we will not be hearing from him again. He is one of the first ones that popped into my mind.
He is not on my list. A little too obvious. I'm although thrilled that Mitch had him on his list because he deserves to be mentioned. He's a fantastic villain. However, speaking of Gruber, number 4 for me. You know where I'm going with this.
Gruber?
Simon Gruber, played by Jeremy Irons in Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Oh,
1995,
God damn it.
Hans Gruber's vengeful older brother who wants to take vengeance against...
Are you doing the Godfather 2 thing that people do?
Which is what? Oh, no, this is
Because
not
Hans
bad.
Gruber is the iconic.
No, of course, I only did this. It's a bit clever.
Clever.
It's a great character.
Clever pick.
It's
Very
a bit
clever.
clever because, but at the same time, I'm not going to put Hans Gruber on there. It's just, I risk my reputation as a scholar, Anderson. I can't have that happen again.
Like if you were doing your top 5 favorite books, you couldn't have the Bible on there.
Yeah, exactly. Precisely. I couldn't have Nothing Lasts Forever by Roderick Thorpe.
You know what I forgot to tell you about Flamin'
That's
Hot?
a deep fucking pull.
Yeah, no one can appreciate it except for like one dude
Yep.
right now. And he's
One
probably
guy's
on his way to the Wes
losing his
Anderson
mind.
movie.
Do you know what that book is?
And I didn't even hear what you said because I tuned it out. What was it? What'd you say?
That's the book Die Hard was based on.
That's pretty good, Brian.
That's a deep
tip of the hat. Tip of the hat right there for you. That's pretty good because it's like it's part of what
Right.
you're talking. Yeah, it's akin to what's happening
Yeah.
there. It's apt pupil. What was I saying? I was about to tell you something.
There's something about driving Chinese theater. Did I hear that right?
I don't know.
All right, think about it.
Gone from my brain.
I'll give you a fun fact. In the meantime, the original script, Anderson, was not a Die Hard sequel. It was a standalone screenplay called Simon Says. because remember he keeps giving them these riddles to figure out,
Right.
And thus he's the titular. He would have been the titular Simon.
I'm doing that thing that I do. It's kind of annoying to some people, I would imagine. Probably myself, I was listening as well, but I can't help myself. I'm compelled to go back to the last episode we did to a particular movie that I reviewed, which was Flamin' Hot, and I forgot to mention.
Is there a German character?
No, but there's an anti-religious tone theme throughout, which
Interesting.
I really was
Responded to.
surprised by, especially with the audience that they're going for, right? With a lot of Roman Catholics in that community.
Yeah, especially.
And now there may have been a point where he kind of came around, and I remember there was some praying over a box at a post office that needed its help, but still I didn't take that as like a full conversion because he and his wife were not big religious people, which it did not add up, and I appreciated that quite a bit.
They were not on the God Squad.
That might not have been true. Might have been bullshit like the rest of the movie, and maybe they were like devout Catholics.
I hope that's the only part that was true.
I know. I like that part. Godless families. The only thing
Heathens. All right, number 4 for you.
And then to keep myself from doing this next week, I would like to also say James Hunt was played by Chris Hemsworth in Rush, in case you did not see. And it's the rivalry between those two fellas, Nick Lauda, and James
Nicky
Hunt.
Lauda.
Nicky Lauda. And, yeah. All right. Here we go with my number 4. Jesus Christ. I got a doctor on my list, bro.
As do I.
Uh-oh. Now
He's much higher, however.
I had 2 doctors on my list. One gets way too much airtime, so I had to ask him to sit on the sidelines this week. Tired of his surgeries.
Does he like human beings?
He does not like. But my doctor, the doctor that I have on my list,
Is he finished?
likes human beings very much. Oh, did he do the final? Dr. King Schultz, played by Christoph Waltz, and Django Unchained.
That's right.
Django Unchained. King Schultz came from a wealthy family, presumably from Dusseldorf,
Is he
Rhine
Austrian?
province, Kingdom of Prussia, and is highly cultured as well as very intelligent. He practiced dentistry up until 1853. Schultz despised slavery and hated the sight of slaves being treated poorly and also killed, leading him to become an abolitionist. Thank you. And yes, as far as I can tell, he was a German fella. Right?
Well put.
German fella. Christoph Waltz. I mean, he's a German actor, so I mean,
No, he's Austrian.
When he wipes the foam off
Yeah,
that beer.
but
so good. I mean, I don't love this movie. I don't love a lot of this movie, but I love this character. I mean, how can you not love this character?
What's his face? Christoph Waltz is Austrian, born to German parents.
We all know that.
I don't know if you did.
We all knew it. All knew it.
What's Mitch's number 4?
Mitch's number 4 is Lola, played by Franca Potente in Run Lola Run.
Just came
That's
out.
her. Lola rennt auf Deutsch.
And how?
That's the one.
This is probably one of the first foreign films I saw as a teenager, and I was surprised. A country outside of the
Watch your mouth.
what? A country outside the alliance of back-to-back World War champs. There it is. Was capable of producing something entertaining. I credit this film to opening my eyes to foreign cinema. I love chaos. I love gambling.
Duh. So you win. Good for you, Mitch.
Chaos and gambling and beer. Those are his
really?
main. Those are the main things that
A lot of that in Germany.
he's a man who can curb his appetite. Whereas some of us, it's too much of a good thing can kind of
Indeed.
ruin your life, and it doesn't seem like that's the case at all with Mitch. Mitch is capable. He's about to spend a couple weeks in the Canary Islands. Very jealous.
Nice.
Very jealous.
Are there plentiful casinos in Germany? I mean, judging by Rolling the Run, I guess.
I've never spent any time in Germany.
We were at Frankfurt for a few hours.
It's the most. I got off on a train once with my wife, smoked a cigarette, and then I tell her I've been in Germany, and she's like, "No, you haven't." I'm like, "Well, I wasn't even." We went across Germany in the train, and I got off and smoked a cigarette. So feet were on the ground.
We were on the ground, yeah.
She goes, "Still, you didn't spend any." And I'm like, "You're right. I didn't sleep there. I didn't talk to any locals. Gave a couple really, really hard looks at a couple of Germans on the train with us, though.
Why?
I don't know if that counts.
Why?
I don't like people that are too close to me and talking loudly.
Oh, they were encroaching.
Yeah. Oh, and I had to share a train car with them in Germany, a sleeping car. A whole German family was in the sleeping car with us. Did not like them. Shot them some looks as well. Does that count?
Sleeping car.
Does that count? Oh, yeah. It was like a 15-day trip before Jillian and I after we got married. It was to Europe, and we hit like 8 cities. I mean, 8 countries. And I planned the whole trip, and I knew because Jillian's a very private person. She doesn't like to go to movie theaters because people are there, right? She likes to keep to herself. And I knew the only way to get us from, I think it was Prague to Venice was we had to sleep on the fucking train with another family. I knew this, and I just was ringing I didn't tell her until like we were boarding the train. I'm like, all right, now, honey.
Now, by the way,
I didn't want to deal with her like. So
you effectively have a toddler.
You want to rip the Band-Aid off.
You have a toddler. You're like,
ripped it off. Yeah.
There's going to be vegetables in this restaurant.
Do you remember the story from the after disaster where like we went into the car and they're like that angry woman was on the top bunk, just like, you have too many bags, way too many bags.
I forgot about this.
It was the same train.
How long ago was that?
It was 2015.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
I have a doctor at number 3.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you something about this.
Does he have a pet?
He had a
pet. It just keeps on giving. It really does.
He had 3 pets.
Or is it 1?
It was
merged.
3.
He merged.
Yeah, a dry hund eventually became 1.
Do I need to see this again? I only saw it once and I enjoyed.
It's so funny. It's just so
I
funny.
just never revisited.
Did you ever see the second or third one?
No, I heard. Weren't you saying the second one is just
They're all completely different movies, which is really impressive.
One is legitimately a fun.
Talking about Human Centipede,
yes.
For those of you who aren't listening
Oh,
closely.
that's not mine.
Oh, you doing a misdirect here?
Dr. Joseph Heider, of course, played by Dieter Laser, excuse me. I think, Avery, you get more out of the movie going into it knowing that this is a comedy, a very ridiculous black comedy. And as such, Dr. Heider is one of the funniest characters ever committed to film.
They're all comedies.
I don't like human beings.
It's very funny. It is very funny if you know that it's a comedy, like Bryan says. Now, the third one is
His beloved dry hund is commemorated on the wall.
It is, and he has a little headstone in the backyard, right?
That's right.
I called when I had my 3 Chihuahuas. I called them. I collectively referred to them as 3 Dog. Yeah, time for go to a walk, 3 Dog. It's so not my type of humor. I do not like poo humor at all.
This shouldn't be funny.
It goes so far over the top that it comes back around.
It goes down.
Oh
smooth,
no!
ironically.
Stop it! I said goes back around too. Let's not talk about that.
It goes front to back.
Oh, there's another one there, Bryan. The completion, the full
sequence.
The ring.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
the ring.
But how do you get it started?
Mouthful and then it's out.
That's true.
Let's see this marble go.
You know
like
what?
a Hot Wheels track, you're just making a loop.
I normally...
there's so many details that are fucking hilarious with the first one. It's like they're trying to escape and there's the spiral staircase. It's like, that's just genius. That's just so smart to put that in there.
I've had people ask me, like, is that a good movie? I'm like, okay, here's the thing.
It is.
I'm going to say yes. Because...
It's high on the fun factor.
It's extreme. It's off the charts.
But it's not like a be like Roger Corman,
no,
like
it's
Sharknado.
Or
it's
The Room.
and the tension, or The Room. Like, this is a well-made film. And I say that, like, despite the fact that the premise is so absurd, but like when she's in the pool, and she's like, that is tense. Like, it's tense.
Without Dieter Laser as Dr. Heider, this is a full star less.
Now, you haven't seen the second one.
True, but it's a very different film. So
yeah, but it's interesting to talk about how different they are and how this. I mean, this Tom Six is he's an accomplished filmmaker.
As much as we complain about Hollywood cannibalizing its own properties, remakes, sequels, prequels, whatever, I would like to see an origin story movie about Dr. Heider where he was a world-renowned surgeon.
I know. You wonder if he worked for the Nazis.
Yeah, he removing separating conjoined twins. Yeah. Something happened to him in the ensuing years after his retirement. He was that turned him the dark route.
I think it's like the parents that he did these surgeries for were so ungrateful that he's trying to undo his work, right?
There's so many great ways you can go with this.
Oh, that's yeah, I mean, he could have gone and found... I mean, he didn't even have to do the ask them out thing. He could have just been, tracking down the kids that he separated and are now teenagers, and then he puts them back together. But it doesn't even have to be... It could just be, conjoining them again.
Yeah.
That would have been good.
Dieter Laser's dead, so I'm hoping that we can get, a prequel, the young Dr. Heider.
The second one is black and white. It's one of the most disturbing... It has some of the most disturbing imagery I've ever seen, because instead of using the skilled, world-renowned doctor, it's a guy who's not... Like the cheese has slipped off the cracker, as they say, right? He's not mentally all there, not well educated at all,
Enthusiastic.
kind of all thumbs.
Determination.
Martin is all
Determined.
thumbs. He's a security guard.
Determined.
Very determined. Huge fan of, it's very meta, huge fan of the original Human Centipede. He watches it on a loop. He has a plan of actually emulating it, doing it himself. But instead of having like surgical instruments and a surgical hand and the
a surgical license,
he lives with his mom and he has access to
board certification.
He has access to like a stapler and butter knives, and that's how he goes about it, and a hammer. And it's awful, Brian. And it's fucking awful.
I really would not like to see this.
And then the third one,
I look forward to never seeing it.
the third one, the final sequence is just all like over the top comedy, and it's just like, it's just stupid. It's just a really gross comedy. But yeah, he's made 3 very different movies with this. I haven't even looked him up in a while. What's old Tom Six? If IMDb wasn't so fucked, I don't know what's wrong with that IMDb. It just does not work.
Unfortunately, it's your turn to do your number 3.
I guess I'll look up Tom Six. Oh, look at that, Tom Cruise. You know, it's kind of got the Tom Cruise thing. Where like, you know, the premise behind it precedes the actual movie. So I think the actual skilled filmmaking gets lost in the absurd premise. Sure. Yeah.
All right.
Number 3 for me is the one that I have a clip for. This is one that I talked about a little bit earlier in the Fingers, talking about Fingers. This is my favorite and only thing that I really responded to in anything Jack Reacher.
Yeah, me too.
This goes back to 2012.
I remember fights outside of a bar and this.
Fights outside of a bar. And like this thing that we saw in the trailer where he blends in with the crowd and puts on the pirate hat. Like that's kind of cool. And it's not a bad movie, but it's not a movie made for me. But the Zek, who that's his name. Werner Herzog plays the Zek, who is this might be giving stuff away, but I mean everyone's watching the new series and stuff.
Well, he's the villain, right? He's the
villain,
he's the
but I feel like
antagonist.
we know he doesn't have fingers, but then this is the origin story of how he lost his fingers, and it has to do with him being very German and being in a gulag at one point for his Germanness. Here's
what I have to do. I was in prison in Siberia. I spent my first winter wearing a dead man's coat, a hole in one pocket. I'd shoot these fingers off before the frostbite could turn to gangrene. These I gave up to avoid working in the sulfur mine. That is how I survived when so many others did not. A man this rare can always be of use. So show me you are rare.
That's good.
Show me you'll do anything to survive.
No, that's good. Where's the line that I love so much?
You have a knife?
Did I have a knife?
Did I have a knife? Yeah, that's after like a long pregnant pause of. Okay. So yeah, it's an ultimatum that he's setting up for this other character who either has to bite off his own fingers or take a bullet to the head. And you know, it's hard not to watch a scene like that and not put yourself in the shoes of the would-be finger biter. Gloves. Why the hole in the pocket? Is he suggesting that that's what caused? Like he'd keep his hand.
Yeah, I think that's what made his hands freeze.
The dead man's. Yeah. Couldn't just ball him up in there, Werner. The Zek.
Could just squeeze.
I feel like this is a big reveal that I let go, and it was worth it though, because just hearing Werner Herzog talk anytime is great, right?
Oh, and always good.
That's after Dr. Evil. That's like a Dr. Evil level origin story, and here we are.
You're right. Like that is. Like that could have been so tropey and comical, and it was comical because it was so dark. But he sold it, and like it's like his eyes are all glossed over, like kind of glassy.
Oh, he looks scary as fuck.
Have you seen this movie?
No, I didn't.
It does not match the rest of the movie. It does not match. The whole movie is kind of like a modern day, like
it's like a fun
James Bond.
There you go.
And then this fucking this monster shows up, and I don't know if Werner's just like, I will do your part, but let me come up with my own backstory.
Yeah, he might have done that himself.
I feel like he just I feel like he just did the whole finger thing, and they're like, we're gonna have to get cutaways and like do some makeup on his fingers because this is gold.
Because for a non-actor, Werner sells that shit really well.
He's really good in everything I've seen him in. Like he's very Werner, but he transcends director and becomes whatever character he's
a performer.
Yeah, he really is a performer. His whole life has been one performance after another.
Let's hear Mitch's number 3.
Mitch's number 3 is Captain Klenzendorf, Sam Rockwell, and Jojo Rabbit.
Oh.
I was able to include this film in a recent unit on magical realism in my 11th grade English class. The students enjoyed it quite a bit, and I genuinely appreciated Rockwell's performance.
Rockwell.
The absurdity of his
He's
climactic
in Band
scene
of Brothers.
Nope.
According to you.
Gave me a legitimate chuckle. Side note, if you will indulge me, in the same unit, we also watched Raising Arizona.
Oh, sorry.
As an example of cartoonish comedy.
Huh?
For my money, Brian, you'll like this. For my money, one of the funniest lines in all of cinema is delivered by HI's Supervisor Glenn regarding the couple's inability to adopt a white baby. I said, healthy white baby, 5 years. What else you got? Said they got 2 Koreans and a Negro born with his heart on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
It's a crazy world.
It's raised in Arizona.
It's a crazy world.
Yep.
That's right.
So we were
I
watching
didn't
this
care
in
for
class. I developed a bit of a wheezing laugh, not a peep from the students. Tough scene for the Gen Zers out there.
Tough scene for the Gen Zers. I just heard Michael Che talking about how he said transvestite at a college gig
Yeah.
like a year ago, and it just like went.
And he made it out alive?
Yeah, he made it out alive, but he actually said the word transvestite, and they were like, they'd never maybe even heard the word he was thinking.
Yeah.
They might not even, but they just heard the trans part, and then something that they weren't familiar with, they came after it, and they're like, it was just like the air got sucked out of the room.
Yeah.
He's like, what? It's a term. It just means
That's
somebody
the
who
thing,
doesn't.
Yeah.
So he went and he looked it up. Turns out that vestite actually is an Italian word. You should know this, Brian, about somebody who wears different clothes or something.
I
Yeah.
don't know that.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's not a hateful thing. It's not a mean thing, but
It's outdated.
it's outdated. Yeah.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Avery.
He was talking about
For God's
like,
sake.
call it. What were we going to say?
I was going to say, what would be the term now? Because I thought it was very specific, where it is a straight man who dresses like a woman.
Oh,
Is
that's
that what you got to say? All those you can't say cross dressing.
Now you can say
I don't know. Is it cross-dressing?
I don't
Is that
I
what
think
the...
it's tranny.
It's not that.
Oh,
That's the part I wasn't sure.
chick with dick?
What is a transvestite?
But it
That's
has
his
nothing
next
to do
movie.
with a transgender.
No,
though.
no, transvestite was like cross.
It's just the,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, somebody who crossed Hoover.
Like, I guess you would say non-binary these days.
Buffalo Bill.
You got to say. You have to say the
Classic transvestite.
I mean, I think that's the most realistic depiction of right. That's
Buffalo
what they-
Bill?
That's what they said, right? Like that's what all transgender
yeah.
people are.
Yeah, they'll end up either killing themselves or many others.
It does suck that like that's for that entire group of
Yeah,
of the population.
that was the public's
that's the
perception.
one. That's the one that is the poster child. Yeah, that's no good. That'd be like
It's problematic.
I was gonna say Lex Luthor for all bald people for you, but he's kind
It's
of
not
cool.
bad. I
No,
don't
he's
mind
not
that.
bad.
Smart.
Who do we want to go with?
Uh,
Like if there's only one, like no one else is bald except for this one character.
well, bald for a long time was just dumb and stupid, right? It was like old and middle-aged and dumb and ineffectual.
Yeah.
So I guess any number of, from Groundhog Day, Ned the Head, the insurance salesman, Stephen Tobolowsky.
We gotta take a break.
Break time.
Oh, that's what I saw. Groundhog Day.
Yeah,
that
you-
was my. Oh my God,
Felt like
amazing!
the first time.
I loved it.
Great
Loved it.
movie. Love that movie. All right, coming up next, more German characters after we talk about some Amazon purchases next. I want to correct the record, Anderson, much like you and your Sam Rockwell boner from last week or the week before. I forget if it was on our Facebook page or a Reddit, but whoever I highlighted a knife last week, and someone said, I bought the knife, and Bryan was very dismissive. And I think they posted like a video of this very cool knife that like folded and had hinges and gears. In my defense, I don't mean to be dismissive, but when I looked it on my Amazon, it did not have an animated like schematic of how this thing worked. It was just a knife. So I was like, yeah, someone got a knife. The knife was cool. The knife was very cool. So good for you.
You tell us anything more about the knife? And why
The
was
knife,
it-
if you listen,
Right,
to your
I'm sorry, I
goddamn
didn't realize.
phone.
I'm sorry.
The knife has hinges and it has gears
Very
and you
sorry.
can do all sorts of shit with it. It's a cool knife. Cool knife.
What
Hey-
is it? Does the knife do anything though?
Yeah, it moves. It folds.
He doesn't have to bite his fingers off.
What?
Yeah, it's like a utility knife, right? You might see like
I've
a
heard
FedEx
it. I've heard
worker
enough
have.
of it. I was joking. I was kidding. Would you be allowed to bring it on a plane? Probably not.
Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not. This is the size of a box cutter, maybe even a little larger.
I have like a little Swiss Army knife. It's black, which is cool because usually they're red and mine's black. And I play a little fun game with myself. It's only fun for me, but I always
called
have it.
pinochle.
It's always in my luggage, and I always have to remember to take it out before it's in my carry-on, and I keep it in there. And then I have to remember to take it out and move it every time. I don't know why I do that.
Why
but
do
I
you
do
do
that.
that?
I don't know. Keep me on my toes.
I used to have a credit card size thing that folded up into a knife.
Oh yeah,
That thing was
Oh,
interesting.
nice.
that comes straight out of like ISIS.
Yeah,
You buy it on the ISIS site.
My mom's insane. I think she got that for me as a stocking
I
stuffer.
clicked through the Amazon on ISIS for you, honey.
She did.
And by the way, just a reminder, Amazon is increasing their payouts on many, many things for the first half of July. If you're looking for Prime Day things, you got things in your cart, you're going to do a little shopping.
Cart.
Please consider tapping the link on AndersonandBryan.com. It is FREE free for you and helps us a little bit more in this case on the back end. So thank you for that. Here are the things purchased on Amazon this week.
You can do it.
A part of me thinks this is maybe a dorm room decor. Someone got 2 neon signs that say pizza, and someone got 2 neon signs that say game zone. I'm wondering if that's dorm room attire or if someone actually has a pizza game zone. A pizza shop with arcades.
I would think 2 would tell you that it's
Yeah, I
an
don't think they
actual
let you
shop.
have neon in college.
Was it?
And I don't think you
I
need
think they
2
let
of
you
them.
Yeah, but I
neon.
think it's more accessible these days vis-a-vis Amazon, right?
Well, what I'm saying is, like, why would you need 2 unless you got
That's
2
good.
kids
You
that
got
have the
2
exact
kids.
same 2 interests?
That's a
And
really
it sounds
good
like
point.
something that you'd probably want to put in your front window, like in a little shop. And get
That's a good
small
point.
little,
All right,
like,
thank you. Thank you for tapping the banner, getting that. Let us know where your pizza shop is, and we'll
front,
give you
front
a
and
little
back.
plug.
Front and back.
Koto Paxi Alpha Travel Pack, Televis Das Boot, Dot Boss. I got it mixed up. Dat Boss Mix LR long range antenna. Good Lord, I'm having troubles here. Air Alexa self-inflating camping mattress purchased. Sun Joe electric dethatcher. Someone got themselves. We're gonna clear some brush. Anchor power bank portable charger. Asus Zen screen portable monitor. Someone got themselves 16x9 L shelf brackets. Columbia men's facet shoes. Wet and forget moss, mold, mildew, and algae stain remover. Maneuver wall mount bathroom mirror. Someone got Rolflex arm and leg massager. Ooh, how nice. 2 Continental Gator Skin Duraskin tires. 2 Amazon Basics 100-foot extension cords. NutriBullet personal blender was picked up. Purina 1 lamb and rice formula dog food. Yale Navis paddle passage lever was picked up. 8 pounds of individually wrapped pinata candies. Happy birthday to you or your child. Red Label knife sharpener sanding belts. Jeff Deluxe steel golf cart drumstick stand for a drummer, presumably. Cedar Summit ultralight day pack. Hialeah running socks. And someone got themselves a copy of Final Fantasy 16 Deluxe Edition for PlayStation 5. Thank you for getting that.
Here are the movies that were clicked through since the last time we talked at you. The Last of Sheila was clicked through. I don't know. What is The Last of Sheila?
Who or what is that?
Why is she no more? Why is she dissipating?
She's very convivial.
She's leaving. She's the Last of Sheila. I don't know who that is or why she's leaving. I do know that my computer is not working properly. So
It's a
I'm gonna have to wait for-
1973 mystery film directed by Herbert Ross.
Thank you.
It's starring, written by Anthony Perkins
Oh,
and
look at
Stephen
that.
Sondheim.
He did do a couple rights on a couple pictures. Bad Lieutenant was clicked through. I wonder which one. Both great in their own ways. Run Lola Run was clicked through as well as We Are the Best. That was a movie that Bryan originally wrote when he had dual personalities.
Well, that was the original title for the documentary.
We Are the Best. It was about him and his tumor. We Are the Best. Breathe was clicked through as well as Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Miss 45. John Wick, Chapter 4, Bonus X-Ray Edition. A Good Person was clicked through as well as Sisu. You don't say Sisu like we were all saying for a while.
That's
I'd say
right.
you pronounce it Sisu from the director of Rare Export. Blackberry was also clicked
Yes.
through. Fuck to the yes with the Blackberry from the director of The Dirties as well as Operation Avalanche. And then finally, Journeys Through French Cinema was clicked through. That's quite a journey you got there. Ronin and Caged. Finally, Caged was clicked through. Thank you very
Hey.
much for the click-throughs, guys. Appreciate it. And
You might know Herbert Ross, director of Sheila, as the director of Funny Girl. He also may be most famous for directing The Turning Point, for which he was nominated for Best Picture and Best Director.
thanks. I always like learn a little something.
Yeah,
I did not. I've
didn't
seen
know
Funny Girl, but not.
He directed Footloose. There you go. And still Magnolias. All right.
I just heard an interview with this guy.
Oh, really?
Very recently.
Herbert Ross?
Yeah.
Probably 90 years old.
It might have been an interview
74.
from before. I mean,
74
it's
years
not
old.
like only live things.
Oh, he
are out
died.
there.
Never mind. He died in 2001.
Okay. Well, it was an older interview, but yes, I definitely. All right, let's get back to the program.
We're back. Time to wrap this baby up with a few German characters from each of us. Number 2 for me. I like to dust this movie off, Anderson, every few years. Bring it up or out of the vaults, as it were, because it's not a movie that gets discussed here or in polite society. I think I assigned it to you many years ago. One of the best TV movies I've ever seen, Conspiracy, 2001.
You love your
HBO's
conspiracy. You just love it.
And I'm choosing Colin Firth's character, Wilhelm Stuckert, who was a real person who was part of the Nazi final solution. He was portrayed by Colin Firth. If you don't remember Conspiracy, it's been a while since we talked about it, but this is the story of the Wannsee Conference, which is where the German Third Reich leadership developed the final solution to the Jewish question, as it's politely known, as it's colloquially known, the Holocaust, killing many millions of Jews. And Wilhelm Stuckert is the one that sticks out most to me. This is a very fine movie starring Kenneth Branagh and Stanley Tucci and the aforementioned Colin Firth. Firth's character stands out to me the most because, and this is the one I may have had a clip for, but I decided not to. However, he is getting increased. So the German officers in this movie are discussing with cold efficiency the best way to kill millions of Jews and rid Europe of Jews. And they're like throwing ideas around. They're like, well, what if we did some sort of the bullets are too expensive, so it's just very chilling, the efficiency and casualness they're discussing this mass genocide with. And you can see Colin Firth is getting more and more annoyed and more frustrated as this conference goes on, and they're discussing how to kill all these people. And at one point, he kind of blows up, and you're like, oh, well, here comes the part where Colin Firth is our sympathetic proxy, and he's going to try and talk some sense into these people and be talked down. And in fact, it's very different.
Not that at all.
Colin Firth is like, you people don't understand how we're going to be perceived for all this. The Jews are a serious problem. They're a cunning people, and they need to be pinched off at this generation. And you're like, oh my God, this guy who I was expecting to be like
the one voice of reason.
Yeah, the sympathetic character in this is in fact the worst of all. Yeah. And he's like, we need to do this efficiently and quickly
and quietly
and we need to sell the world on how evil these people are, so that we're not looked as the bad guy. And it's like, oh my God, this is so much worse than I anticipated. Yeah.
You're hoping for somebody you can follow. Like there might be some shred of hope.
Because Firth, he's a genteel man. You know what I mean? He's like in his persona, in his acting persona. You're like, oh well, here comes the guy who's fed up with all this, and it's like, no, he's very much on board.
Did you hear Roseanne Barr recently?
No,
she was just talking about
how recent?
Fairly recently.
Oh
I think.
Boy.
It's essentially like 6 million Jews should be gone like tomorrow. And she would if she could, because they cause all the problems.
We're still doing this?
She's mentally ill, and it's weird. Like
was she joking?
No. The type of mental illness that occurs, where it just it just changes your brain into something like this hate thing.
Do you think there's something about having so much money?
Will you look that up and see how recently that was? Because I just heard the soundbite that was played for me and. Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah.
No, I was going to say, do you think there's something to being so wealthy and powerful that no one is around you to tell you no?
One day ago.
Oh,
my God.
And she was suggesting that, they cause all the problems in the world. And from
She's
what I understand. No, she wasn't. If you heard the sound, but we're not going to play it or anything.
No.
But from what I understand, too,
Well,
I was never
that'll be
a giant,
on Patreon.
My wife was a giant Roseanne Barr fan growing up. Like she loved the Roseanne
show.
show.
Was funny,
and apparently, she, I don't know. This is from what my wife's saying. Is she was all about inclusion and diversity, and she was, she always had controversies around her, but she was never like hateful like this. And something happened in her brain.
She did it on Theo Vaughn's podcast.
Oh
no!
So she's
Theo.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Did he push back?
I don't know.
No, of course not.
I like Theo.
Do you?
No, I mean, I know him through a couple of times on the Crow Show. He's a nice enough guy. But I don't know him personally.
It seems like, I don't know. Anyways.
Wait, should I be sticking up for this guy?
It's interesting. So it's like so many Germans had like this mental illness that allowed them to talk about a full group of people as though they were shrubs or weeds. It's
needed to be pulled out of the ground.
I killed two fish killed because Atticus, he wanted to fish. He's never fished before successfully. So I took him to one of these fucking trout farms and he caught 2 fish.
Is this the one you were saying is scooped up with a?
We did that when I was a kid. They weren't biting the day that I went with my friend, and I had to scoop them up with a bucket. But no, you're not allowed to scoop them up here. And he caught 2 fish. And like I'm still very upset about those fish. And it was like 4 days ago. Like, how do you get to a place where it's just like other human beings are? You can just mow them down like corn.
That's crazy.
There's like a mental illness there, I think, right?
Yeah, it goes against what I would think is human nature.
Yeah. And to hear like somebody like Roseanne Barr, who I don't think that was dormant in her and just sitting there waiting to come out, and she's finally she has nothing to lose now, so I don't think that's, anyways, whatever. Do a dissertation on hate speech later, I guess.
Save that Patreon.
My number 2. Oh, my computer needs.
Come on, buddy.
Oh, this is a fun one. I absolutely love this movie. It doesn't get as much play as it should, and it's been too long since SLC Punk has made the list. But there's it's mainly him and Bob, right? It's mainly Matthew Lillard and Bob, who are the 2 lead characters. But their neighbor, a guy who's around all the time, is Mark, and he's played by Till Schweiger. Okay. And Till Schweiger is a German man. Schweiger.
I don't know.
I don't know either. But he gives so much color and so much fun. There's an 8-minute supercut of him as Mark in SLC Punk, and it's just such a good movie. If you have not seen SLC Punk, and you should enjoy it. He's got a long career as an actor, 88 credits on IMDb. He was also in Inglourious Bastards. He's directed a number of things that I have not seen, but because SLC Punk is about these 2 fish out of water punk guys, played by Matthew Lillard and his friend Bob, and they are in like this very super, clean, religious Mormon community, and they're against the grain punk guys. And punk guys stand out anyways, but they definitely stand out in Utah. Sure. And then their neighbor, who seems like the straight man, who's like even though he's German, like, he's got the thick German accent, he's way crazier and more fucked up than they will ever be. And it's all about perception. He's more buttoned up and he looks normal. They like hanging out with him. They like stealing cars and having fun with him. But the crazy German Mark is the one with a very troubled past and involved trauma. I mean, they didn't go with, he's too young to do like the post-World War II thing, but, he lost his parents in a plane wreck, and he's murdered people with his large Clint Eastwood Magnum, 44 Magnum. Mark in SLC Punk is my second favorite German character. I did not know that until doing the research and scouring my brain and lists out there. And I'm like, oh my God, Mark, yes, fuck yes. Fuck to the yes. And I went and I wanted to make sure that I found enough video evidence, and it's out there. He's fantastic.
It took a little bit of research. Like, you come up with a character and you're like, wait, is he German?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like
if he was Austrian, I wouldn't have been shocked. I'm like, please be German. And he's German.
There you go. All right, let's hear Mitch's number 2.
Mitch's number 2 is Werner Herzog as Werner Herzog. In Burden of Dreams.
So good.
Not technically a character, but the man is definitely a character. Top 5 documentary for me, and the film that introduced me to just how depraved human beings can behave. Werner gets a lot of play on this pod, but it's 100% deserved. A truly unique
100.
being.
Wait, depraved in Burden of Dreams?
That's what he said?
Huh.
In the sense that I guess like you would stoop to any level to get what you need.
I don't, but you saw it. I mean,
I don't know
Burden
if
of
I'd
Dreams
use
is all about the making of Fitzcarraldo, which is a phenomenal movie. In its
depraved might be the wrong word, but I know what he's going after is like sort of an insatiable appetite or an insatiable drive.
Yeah, because he's talking about all of the pain and torture that he himself went through. He also had others go through it as well, to an extent. Werner did to make
almost
this
like a manic energy.
Because Fitzcarraldo could have been made with all miniatures. He used miniatures in it for sure, but he definitely did not want to use miniatures in getting that ferry boat actually up and over a mountain in the Amazon. Like, he made people actually do that for him. What a crazy fucking movie that Burden of Dreams is.
Yeah, you made me watch that.
It's so good.
That was rewarding.
So fun. Burden of Dreams, everybody. If you get anything from this week, I'd say it's Burden of Dreams. You seen the Burden of
I have
Dreams?
not.
I would say conspiracy.
No, it's not. Conspiracy. Here's the problem with conspiracy. I mean, you talked it up for many years. I finally watched it. It's a bunch of angry Germans sitting around talking for a long periods of time.
That's true.
And, there are some chilling moments, obviously, that comes with the territory. But
It's
it's mostly Germans
like
plotting.
like my dinner with a Wilhelm.
It's like
That was a really good poll.
My Dinner with Wilhelm.
Yep.
Because My Dinner with Andre. Yeah, but there's a number of them. It's more like Stalin,
Death of Stalin.
Death of Stalin, yeah. But there's no fun. The Death of Stalin
Oh,
has
it's
a lot
not.
of
It's
fun.
not a fun movie at all.
It's just Germans sitting around plotting. I don't need to see that for hours.
Number one for me. Speaking of Germans plotting, we just talked about this on our Patreon episode, so not everyone heard it, so we can spend a little bit of time or a lot of time. But Hans Beckert, played by Peter Lorre, in M,
Yeah.
from 1931.
He's your number one, eh?
It's one of the greatest characters ever committed.
He's
to film.
great, but he was just our number one like last week. I
Yeah,
think.
but it was Patreon, so I imagine
Oh,
a
that's
third
true.
of our audience heard it most.
It's true. You think they're sharing? You think a third of the audience? Brian.
I said it most.
Yeah, okay. Well, you just gave it away now.
Hans Beckert is a villain. He's a horrible man. He is a child, presumably child molester, certainly a child murderer. But he's overcome with his desires, and at one point even verbalizes it when he's caught. He's like, "Don't you think I want out of this? Don't you think I'm tortured by this?" And so that sort of self-recognition, of his prison, is compelling, especially for 1931.
Yeah, especially for Fritz Lang was definitely ahead of its time, and I don't like to talk too much about it, but I don't know, why do I have to do it? I mean, it's a perfect example, not perfect, but it's a great representation of compulsion and how it just ruins.
He must do what he does.
And of course, you're a vile, horrible, selfish person to allow yourself to hurt other people to cessate yourself. But these people are so driven, and I think that gets lost in the conversation all the time. They just think that these people, come in and they want to touch kids because they think it's fun and they like it, and you can't understand that. None of us can unless you actually have that fucking drive, and you could see that in this movie from almost 100 years ago. It's a character study more than anything else.
It is. Laurie himself was a Hungarian, born to German-speaking Jews.
All right, well. Comes to my number one, or we're going with Mitch's?
Number one.
Mitch is going to last. Right? Okay.
Mitch Betts clean up.
All right, so my number one is, speaking of getting too much play, too much airtime, but, why don't I just read? I have it.
Are there any Germans in Fury Road?
Oh, yeah. Well, there's Germans in there for sure, but that's.
Oh, that would be your number one.
Oh, I thought you meant Fury. Never mind. Oh, no.
The Germans in Fury, that's right.
Okay, here we go. This is off of Villains Wiki. I'm going to fuck this up. Merkward Dieglieb was born in Germany and became a Nazi during World War II. He lost his right arm and broke both of his legs during the World War and had to sit in a wheelchair as a result. The Nazis...
Oh, is this the Winter Soldier?
The Nazis during some point had given Merkward a mechanical arm that had a mind of its own, Brian, and still had some of his Nazi traits from before. Trying to put his Nazi past behind him, he had moved to America hoping to live a normal life,
So
and
this is based on a true story?
changed his name to Strangelove, a loose translation of his German name. Talking about Dr. Strangelove and the titular Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb, 1964, Stanley Kubrick's masterpiece, which... And just researching it just this week and researching this character, and you're right, Avery, I should have come up with a couple clips because, Peter Sellers fucking crushes it as Dr. Strangelove. I think most people know that. He's not a German actor. He plays a German character in this. And that's a thing that absolutely happened quite a bit. Spoils of war, where you're German scientists. Get them over here, right? We'll give up on Frankenstein's army and get over here, and you're going to start working for us and making our nuclear weapon for us, right?
That happened.
That happened. Absolutely. Oh, actually, the nuclear weapon had already been. You know what I mean? We took their best scientists. It's part of spoils of war. However, we had a Nazi background. And reading more about every time I go down rabbit holes and I'll start reading about something like Strangelove or Lolita or Cooper, and there's so many comments out there saying Dr. Strangelove is basically a documentary and just talking about how it's so over the top and by far Kubrick's most goofy film.
Oh yeah.
But it's so based on so many things that are real and factual. It actually started out as a true, like, just thriller drama, and there was so much hypocrisy and so much absurdity in what they're covering.
That you must include the comedy.
They're like, we just got to make this a black comedy. We can't allow this to be, straightforward, because people are going to be laughing throughout, and you don't want them laughing if they shouldn't be, if they feel like they shouldn't be laughing. So let's just make it a comedy, which they did. But yeah, a lot of accuracies. And while Dr. Peter Sellers he did his own thing. He was, which was another reason to love Kubrick so much, was as much of a control freak as he was, he recognized something that was, you couldn't put a cap on Sellers, but he loved how unpredictable he was.
Sure.
He loved what he brought, and he kind of gave him all the leash in the world and let him do
Was
his
that
fucking
the last only time Kubrick ever did that actor? Gave him that much leeway?
I mean, I'm sure he did it in Lolita too with the same actor. I don't know if he did it with
Jack Nicholson.
maybe a little Nicholson. It feels like Nicholson's over the top a little bit, and you can see like what Paul Thomas Anderson did with Daniel Day-Lewis. Like, and There Will Be Blood. I mean, he was definitely allowed to do whatever the fuck he wanted. I don't think he was being directed when he was talking to Paul there at the end. You're just a boy. You're just a boy. Okay,
Paul
so
Dano.
That's my number. My number one is Dr. Strangelove.
I've heard of it.
I didn't know. I never knew till this week. All the stuff, all the things, and a lot. I'm a little bit dusty, a little rusty with my Kubrick knowledge. It's been a year since I studied that man like an insane person. But I may have read, but I don't remember ever reading Dr. Strangelove's real name, which is Dr. Merkwardiljibi. I think I'm mispronouncing. I have a feeling I'm mispronouncing Merkwardiljibi.
I doubt it.
That's you nailed it. I'm going to put that into Google and see what they.
Merkwardiljibi. I should. How do you say that? You see the spelling on this? All right. What is Mitch's number one?
Merkwerderglieben? Merkwerderglieb?
Gleben?
It's Glebe.
Am I that far off? What is it?
Merkwerderglieb?
Is this just you hoping that you're right? Because you might be.
Let's see.
Merkwerdergliebe. I'm going to go with.
That's what I was saying.
I added the E in the end.
My computer doesn't really work. It gets so hot that I could cook a steak on it. And it's like it's 3.5 years old.
Let's see what we got.
Merkwürdig Liebe.
Merkwürdig Liebe.
Oh, what a tough line.
Merkwürdig Liebe.
One more time without me stepping on.
Well, come on. Now do you not? Oh, hold on. I'm messing this up.
Merkwürdig Liebe.
Merkwürdig Liebe.
All right.
Close enough.
I'm okay with that.
Number one for Mitch Tobias is Dieter Hellstrom, played by August Diehl in Inglourious Bastards. A short scene, but this guy eats every minute of it.
This is the bar scene?
The strength of the cellar scene in Bastards is in the writing, but the performance by expert linguist Diehl is particularly compelling. There's something incredibly German about the ability to correctly identify the slightest variations of accents. Fun fact for Bryan.
Yeah.
Ironically, the imposter in the scene, Fassbender, is actually from Heidelberg, Germany.
Yeah, that's right.
About 45 minutes down the road from where I live.
I'm aware of his German heritage. I didn't realize he was that close to our buddy Mitch, but that's good.
Right on
Fun
down the road.
fact.
Good pick. And the fact that he has him instead of the Jew Hunter shows that, he did his research and he looked around quite a bit. And I think that's a very, very good pick as well. I almost had Fassbender on for what's his fucking X-Men, but I'm like, hey, you know what? Cape's
Magneto.
Yeah, Magneto. Because Magneto's backstory is pretty...
it's pretty great.
Yeah,
I've read it up
pretty
on the show
goddamn
before.
great. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Good. Kevin Bacon from the same movie. From the X-Men Origins. Or X-Men First Class. Remember, he's the evil Nazi doctor? Nothing?
I mean, I can't remember.
No. Well, he is.
I have cape fatigue. It's like they're all like...
We should wrap this up.
Oh, Hollow Man. Yeah, he was the Hollow Man, and he went around raping women.
True, but that's not what I'm talking about.
Oh, that's a different...
Antagonist. All right. Do
Remember
you have
how weird that was?
Do we have a listener list?
A friend of mine saw the Hollow Man. If those of you who don't remember the Hollow Man, I think was that Gore Verbinski?
No, it was Verhoeven.
Verhoeven, yeah. The Hollow Man. They saw like an early screening of it.
That was me.
Was that you?
Yeah.
You saw an early screening of Hollow Man, and it was all CGI.
Yeah.
But what was it like?
It was like they were animatics and they were just stills. And then at one point there was like a blank scene.
And like, wait, I thought it was like the really horrific like rape scene too. Like,
Yeah. Was that not in the final?
Ugh.
Where he goes into the girl with the giant breasts. He goes into her apartment.
Yeah, well, he's like, no one can see him. The Hollow Man is essentially the Invisible Man. They
Yep.
just ripped off the Invisible Man. And like the first thing he does, the first thing this nihilist does is go into like a large-breasted woman's apartment and has his way with her.
It just violates her.
And then didn't you
And
like
then leaves.
Didn't it look very Then just like, all right, got what I want. Didn't you like see like some kind of weird like CGI rendition of that where like the guy? I thought that was the weird. All right, whatever.
I don't think so. That scene was just her clothes being pulled off with the wires.
No listener list this week.
Understandable. Any also rans we want to talk about?
There were many mentions for.
Oh yeah.
I didn't get a definitive list, but a lot of Dr. Strangelove, Hans Gruber, Hans Landa, and one that I saw many times that was not represented was the villain in the first Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Tote.
The Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
I'm glad that he got represented because I mean he was definitely knocking around, right? He's one of the first Germans that I ever like saw. I'm like, oh, Germans are bad, Daddy.
Terrifying.
Germans are bad. I didn't know, because I didn't know. I didn't learn about World War II and all the atrocities until like I think 6th grade or 7th grade. It was late. Remember when I first learned it? Like
That's interesting you mentioned that because Tessa, who's 6 years old, out of nowhere asked me about World War II.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, Daddy, is World War II still going on? I'm like, no.
then you just throw up both hands and say, "We're back to back World War champs."
All you need to know, son, honey, is we're winners.
Yeah, we're winners.
And I slapped her in the face and walked out of the room.
We made her tough.
That's right.
Tough American.
Toughen her up.
All right, let's get out of here.
Last week we gambled on Asteroid City. Anderson guessed 84, Bryan 68.
Oh, no.
With 231 reviews.
I think I won.
Actual Rotten Tomato score is 74, making Bryan the winner.
I said 64.
You said
88
84.
or 86.
You said 84.
85.
I'm like, I don't remember
was
being
close.
that optimistic
You were
last
off
year.
by
that
10.
We have a right world,
This week
a good world. Where
we
people
gamble on the long anticipated. I think the most anticipated besides Oppenheimer. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Density.
I'd like to be clear and upfront and transparent here, fellas. This will not be seen by me.
Oh, you're going to make me do this alone?
Yes. I'm sorry. I promise I will bring an interesting pick to take its place. I do not want to see this. I still have a special place in my heart for the early Indiana Jones. I do not like how they're just milking this for every dollar possible. It just does not feel right to me. The last
We're
one,
going to have Harrison Ford's
the
ghost
last
in
one
the
was
next one.
fucking awful,
It was pretty
and
bad.
I don't need to. Just because the studios are telling me that I need to see this because it's member bearers.
I always think of the South Park episode
Who's directing this?
I don't even
with
know
the
if I saw-
pinball machine. It's the take of the off of what's that movie? I think it's Jodie Foster's raped in the
Oh,
arcade.
yeah, The Accused.
The Accused.
The Accused, yes, and they do that. Spieley and
Or
they,
having their
they
way
do
with
that
their movies.
to Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I kind of do remember that. Yes,
Spieley and Lucas,
and it's also the same episode where
and it's about the crystal skull. Yeah,
taking like
Yeah.
from they're essentially raping their
raping their
childhood.
childhood. Yeah.
Yeah. I know that it's a movie show and we should be covering movies. I don't have to cover
Well
the movies
put.
that the studios tell me to cover. You see what I'm saying?
No.
So I will bring some value. I promise you. I will bring a good pick, and we'll talk about many movies next week. You'll talk about this fucking atrocity. I will not.
But what if it's good?
It
Yeah,
won't
what
be
was-
good.
What was really good? Who's directing it?
It won't be good.
I feel like
Wes
you see it,
Anderson.
you're hurting this. Oh, interesting. Can you imagine?
Who is the director? I don't even know.
Is there a less Indiana Jones director than Wes Anderson?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of cork in the
That
last
would
one.
be the worst.
The Dial of Destiny.
Quirky characters, bright colors.
I don't know, but if Indiana Jones played it straight, it might be enjoyable.
Yeah.
Just going, what the fuck?
If he's lost in this world, that would actually be great.
You know what would be
Just
better
drop
though is Clint
Harrison
Eastwood.
Ford.
Clint Eastwood
Yes.
stumbling onto a Wes Anderson like movie.
Just growling the whole time.
The number of slurs that would be launched.
Yeah.
Oh my god, what the fuck are you supposed to do? Oh, Mangold directed this one. Okay, yeah, I don't need. I'm not seeing this. I'm not seeing this. No,
Mangold
taking a
you know what?
stand.
Mangold has made some good movies.
Remember, I
He's
made.
made some mangold.
I have 6 movies on my list. I have
Yeah,
6
Jones and the Man of Gold.
reboots, prequels, and sequels that I am willing to see this summer. And this is this
You
year.
already
and
burned
this,
one.
This is not one. Yeah, I already burned one with
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
summer's almost over, buddy.
Yeah, well,
Year's only halfway
for
over
the
there.
full year. Yeah, I can pull up the list again. This is not on it. Believe me. All right, let us know how it goes. Bye bye.
I will.
I'll
I'm helping the show.
So am I. I'm giving. Hey, you're gonna get another good pick because of me not seeing this. You're going to hear Bryan's take on it? No one needs to hear my take on this fucking movie. No one.
What if it cracks the vaulties?
Do you realize that Shia LaBeouf swung on a fucking vine and did the Tarzan yell in the last one? Moments before one of our finest actresses of our generation was devoured by fucking CGI ants, and I had to sit through that.
Oh no, that wasn't her. That was.
It was everyone. Fuck it! And then he hides in a goddamn
a fridge.
Fridge.
The fridge was lined with lead.
So if you're saying that Nagasaki had a bunch of fridges and all the people got inside, like Japan would still be fighting the war.
Well, they'd still be around.
Do you think there'll be any nods to that in Oppenheimer?
I do not think that. Can you imagine?
There's just a tiny fridge next to the desk.
Now, from what we understand, this is the only logical way to avoid any kind of nuclear fallout.
Fortunately, every American has one in their home.
Yes.
Already safe.
We need to get in the fridge BSA campaign.
Whoever wrote that and said, okay, well, we'll have him jump in the fridge and that'll fucking say...
It's very MacGruber.
It is MacGruber. You know, but MacGruber would have been funny when he did it.
Oh, it would have been amazing.
And then it would have been funny like when they did the 6-month flash forward and they open the fridge and he's dead inside because he couldn't get out. He was trapped in there too, which is like, that's another thing. It's irresponsible. They tell kids not to go inside fridges. How many kids have died inside of fridges because of the last fucking plastic skull? Huh?
At least 1,000.
At least, I'd say at least a dozen. At least a dozen dumb kids watch that movie. And they're like, let's go pretend like we're Indiana Jones. You do the Tarzan call.
You light off a bomb. And I'll get in the fridge.
I'll hide in this old fridge down here.
I'm sad to say that the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was written by a very famous screenwriter, David Koepp, who wrote Jurassic Park, War of the Worlds, Spider-Man, Mission Impossible.
Yeah, his
Angels
name is
and
like
Demons.
on there. It's just, I think it's like part of.
Jack Ryan, Shadow Recruit.
I think that is like you know what, you'll get credit
Carlito's
for the next
one.
5 as well.
Yeah, I imagine there are probably others involved. Story by George Lucas.
Oh, okay. I take back everything I said. Wait, he wrote the story? I didn't know that, huh? Bryan, come on. What are we doing? Let's go.
Number.
I got an email just recently from a listener who went back and watched the original, and they said that it's absolute and total shite. I can't speak to that.
Original Indiana Jones?
That's not true.
That's
absurd.
asinine.
I can't. I watched the first 20 minutes before the wife. She protested. She said he can continue watching this, but for the record, I'm against it. And she stood up and she didn't storm out, but she left.
It's a bit much for a 6-year-old.
And I was watching, and it was the scene where a man was on fire and he was falling to the ground, and someone shot him right in between the eyes as he was falling on fire. I'm like, okay, she might have a point. Might be too much. It's tough though. It's a tough age because like so many of his friends have already seen like fucking Jaws, Freddy, and it's like, what the fuck, you know? Show some
couth.
Yeah, like Tyler just watched with his kids like the same age as Atticus. They just watched Terminator 1 and 2 back to back. They're like a movie night.
I thought it was like 10.
Oh, he's like 6 months older than Atticus. All right, let's do this. Sorry, I've rambled. Flap out my gums.
What's our number?
We're doing the new Crystal Skull 4 or whatever.
Dial of density.
Okay, Jesus Christ, kind of good alliteration.
Okay, I feel bad.
On 3.
Let's do it.
1, 2, 76.
61. Oh, 76.
I feel like people
Wow.
You say 72 or 76?
76. I feel like people are
61.
76.
I would be
I think it's safe.
very pleasantly surprised if it was 76.
I don't think it's going to be like critics are going to hate it. I think you might as well see this. It's the 5th. It's probably the last time he's going to be on the screen as the old codger there.
With 144 reviews.
Jesus. That's 12 times 12.
Current Rotten Tomatoes
That's a
score
gross.
is 65.
Ooh, that's
What'd you
good.
say?
That's good.
65.
61.
I said what, 74?
76.
That's stupid. Why
Feel
would I
good.
say 76?
Feel good about this.
It's because I'm feeling patriotic. We're about to have our nation's birthday.
That's true. The greatest
1776.
American hero of all time, Indiana Jones, back on the screen.
There's an argument to be made for that.
It is. He brought down the Nazi scourge more than once.
Yeah, but he's just looking, he is very American. He's just looking for his own fortune and glory.
That's true.
Right.
He actually had no effect on the Nazis whatsoever.
And he's not like trying to help a group of people or anything. He's just looking for his own
Yeah.
fame.
It belongs in a museum.
All right, here we go.
Oh, let's look at Avery's notes if I must.
Shameless plug, Comedy Confessional.
Ugh.
You can check it out July 7th. Link to tickets is in the bio. Confess
Nice.
random confessions from the audience. We riff on them on stage. Good fun.
Enjoyable listener art from David Gulick. Is he the assigner for next week?
Yes, David
Yeah.
Gulick is no, he's the assigner for next week. Level 16 we'll be watching for David Gulick.
That is excellent. Anderson, you must be very pleased with this.
I am. I love it very much. Because you know me, I'm a Vatos Locos forever guy. I love it.
The only
What? I mean, you got a little bit of. I don't know if we can post this without getting canceled.
the image because
Yeah, 'cause-
I'm a little brown.
You know, did you guys see the Jack Reacher billboard? I know you key in on billboards.
Which
Avery.
one?
I don't know. There's one where they make him look so dark and swarthy that it's like, is he Mexican in that billboard? It was weird.
I don't think
Did you
I've
notice that?
seen many of the Reacher ones.
The new Jack Reacher with
I'm a lot of reach around in my
Reach,
life.
Reacher
Well
Rider.
done. So this is a takeoff on Blood In, Blood Out called Sniff In. Sniff In, Sniff Out. I might tweak it to Juice In, Juice Out. That's good. It doesn't change the
But I
quality.
like to sniff and sniff out because it's about breathing, right? You sniff in, you
good.
sniff
Sniff
out.
it.
And it's a bodily function.
I don't like that. Hey, Tyler Mayer, I'm still trying. What are we watching? What's the assigner for you? He's coming up soon here. Yeah, let's continue doing this. This is a
Pump
lot
them
of fun.
out. Pump them out.
Next
Thanks,
week we're
David Gulick, for listener art. Thanks in advance for level 16. We'll review that next week. Future Idiots, feature artist. Check them out, andersonandbryan.com. Thank you in advance for all your support vis-a-vis the Amazon banner, Amazon link on andersonandbryan.com. It is right there for you to use at your no-cost shopping. Instagram, Anderson and Bryan. TikTok, Anderson and Bryan. YouTube, The Film Vault Podcast. Twitter and Facebook, The Film Vault. Watch along on Thursday if you're hearing this very early. I'll see you there. Thank you all our Patreon listeners and support. Giovanni, you're the best. Mitch Burns, hope to talk to you soon, my friend. Mike Cole and Eric Kath, thank you for helping out the show. Appreciate you. Addie's Antiques, selling a bunch of bullshit. And Avery's got some comedy show or something. Till next time.
And loadedforbeardoc.com.
Oh,
Thank you
how
very
could I
much
forget?
for everyone who
Thank you.
gave early so that I don't have to do like full big pushes to continue to work here. So plus I give the update weekly, which I know a lot of you are listening to. So thanks for listening along with that. Behind the scenes filmmaking and how to get movies off the ground and all that fun stuff. It's good time. And until next time, we do it for Van Gogh.